We're having a chat today with Jeff Knittel, who is Chairman and CEO of Airbus Americas. Jeff, thank you for visiting with me, or allowing me to visit with you.
Thanks for coming by.
Thank you. So I wanted to start off by looking back at your pretty storied career in the leasing business for so many years. You were a former customer of the OEMs, and you were also trading with the airlines. In terms of your role today, this must give you a bit of a unique perspective in the industry.
Well, I hope so. I think maybe that's one of the reasons that Airbus brought me on. The reality is that the customer is always looking for various different products, but at the end of the day wants to be listened to. And I think Airbus has done a good job of that, and my job is to take that to the next step. Make sure that we are fully engaged with the customer and fully understand what their needs are today, but also what their needs will be in the future. And my hope is to continue to expand on that to ensure that we are helping airlines succeed. Fundamentally, that's what I'm looking to do.
That actually segues very well with my next question. Middle of the market, an area of great interest. Airbus has the 321neo and the 330neo. Boeing is apparently looking at a single aisle solution and a twin aisle solution. Again, based on your history in the business, what do customers want in that segment?
Fundamentally, customers are looking for efficient, simplistic, operationally reliable airplanes. It's not much different in that segment than some of the other segments. If you look at where we are today, where Airbus is today with the 321neo LR, and I think we have to talk about the LR because it does extend the range of the airplane. And you combine that with where we are with the 330-800neo and 900neo, we kind of believe we are in the middle of the market today. And we are filling the needs of what the airlines want. When the discussion came about 5, 6, 7 years ago, and I was involved in this discussion about filling this hole, people talked about the 757 hole. Well, if you think about a 757 hole, you better think about the 321neo LR because it lays right on top of that airplane in terms of where it can fly. So we think we fill that gap. And then when you think about the next size, i.e. the 250 seat and above size, you think about the 330-800neo, and it fits it perfectly. So we think we have it today, not only from a operational perspective, but from a perspective of what airlines want in the future. And that's airplanes that get off the gate and do the job efficiently.
So it's a workhorse segment.
Absolutely. And we think we are there today, and we think we're there in the future, quite honestly.
Okay, jumping to Mobile, Alabama. What is your plan for the FAL, and specifically with respect to adding on the C-Series to the existing FAL?
Well, for us, as you know, several years ago we opened up the single aisle FAL for the A320 series airplane, and it has been enormously successful. The employees in Mobile have done a great job. We're producing currently 4 airplanes a month there, and that will increase over time, and we have the potential in that segment, i.e. the 320 segment, to continue to increase rate there. Now we can add on the C-Series. As you know, that was when the C-Series transaction was announced, it was also mentioned that we will be producing in the U.S. the C-Series aircraft in Mobile. And that's a great opportunity for the team to produce what we think is going to be an excellent airplane that takes us from 100 seats right up through the 380 size airplane. So from a Mobile perspective, we get the synergies of having 2 assembly lines next to each other and a high quality employee base and a high skilled employee base.
My last question, I'm glad you brought up you mentioned 380. The 380 is kind of a maligned product by many observers in the industry. Looking specifically at the United States, what will it take to get a U.S. airline to deploy that airplane?
Well, the U.S. airlines, in a lot of ways, have actually down-gauged a little bit. And what I'm talking about there is, if you go back 20, 30 years, you think about the 747 series airplane at the top end. There's very few airlines, if any, in the U.S., and I think the answer is none, that are flying the 747 today. Unfortunately, they're not flying the 380 either. They've stepped down to smaller gauge, wide body airplanes. But in our view, this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. Airlines change. One of the concepts or original thoughts behind the 380 was that there will be slot controls. There will be a restriction in terms of availability of ramp space. And when you have that, the 380 fits very, very well. So it really, in some ways, is an airplane that's probably ahead of its time. But again, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Addison.